Hey, this is me building and strategizing my 400k per year profit solo consulting business in public. And the way that these videos work is that they follow the exact same framework every single day. I start by answering your questions, which means that you can ask your question in the comments below and then I'll answer it in tomorrow's video. It is an amazing engagement hack and it's a fun way to start the video and a good way for me to bring you instant value for following along in this series. Then I'm showing my business stats, so the growth of my social channels, my revenue, my cost of running a solo consulting business on a day-to-day basis. Then I run it through my to-do list, so what I did today and what I'll do tomorrow in order to move the needle. And then of course some live strategy in the end, which is basically just me brainstorming out loud on how I can get to $1 million a year in personal profit while following these exact rules. All right, so let's dive into my daily updates YouTube channel. I head over to community. I scroll down until I haven't interacted with a comment and then we basically just run it up. So we have a question here from Jones. Good to see you again, bro. Jones texted me on IG that there was a problem with YouTube comments. So I think it looks like we sorted it. And I asked him to elaborate on some things from a previous video. So I'll try to give you context if I can remember it. It's more than a week ago, I know that. Well, on paper, the numbers look great. We've proven the system works and clients are happy. That is 80% of the way, bro. So congratulations. A proven system and framework. It's not easy to create within a certain niche. And the fact that clients are happy, which means that the rest that you can do now is 20%, which is just optimize and finding the best way for scale. 90% of the calls that you're booking are through phone follow-up. So scaling ad spend naturally increases the pressure on the setter side, right? That is typically the trade-off you make by running a customer journey that has the involvement of people, right? Here we're talking about lead volume versus lead efficiency. And these two things are very key to know the differentiator of. Let's say that I get a follower on Instagram, which is a lead in my case. I personally send a voice note or a selfie video to the person, welcoming them and asking them why they're following along. Then I run an appointment setting process with the person where I send voice notes and I spend a lot of time on the person. Then I invite them for a discovery call. I spend 30 minutes learning everything about them and their business. I invite them for a second call where I spend in the meantime an hour on making a presentation for that unique person. And then I spend an hour on presenting it, objection handling, and closing the client, right? I promise you, if I did this with the knowledge of running ads and running a funnel and doing content and also the foundation that I have now, I would probably get a return on investment of putting $1 in and getting 20 out front end. But you'd also have to consider that I would be spending 4 to 5 hours on every single lead that would go through this entire process, right? So the reasons why I'm explaining it this way is because Jonas here is in a situation where his funnel, if he needs to turn up volume, it also increases more manpower, right? So every time that the ad spend goes up, basically what happens is that the amount of work from his team also goes up, which means at some point we hit a ceiling where it's gonna break unless he has infinite talent. It's not so much the talent side, in my opinion. It will probably be the client scalability and like the roof for every single like client, right? There will be some sort of like a gap. Let's reset the colors here. So every time a setter drops off, we have to jump back in to keep the performance stable, which kills momentum and caps how many clients we can realistically handle. Yeah, that is the hardest part about having a funnel that is performing well because of people, right? You realize that what like the marketing thing and this like info game and funnels and etc, right? It's so driven by ads and content. But when you dig deeper into it, you realize that a good setter can book twice as many calls as a okay setter, which means that it can be the same ads and content, but the setter here is the differentiator in terms of how well it's doing. But you can also argue it back to ads and content, right? A good setter can maybe save a bad ads and marketing. So here it's word against word, but at the end of the day, you should have all things in check, right? All right, Jones, let's see where you're stuck, bro. At this performance level is around 150 to 300 leads, 30 to 40 calls a month, and 20 to 40k rev, which is definitely not cash, which is probably total rev, right? So what's the most scalable model? Full-time in-house setter working across multiple clients, base and commission. One dedicated freelancer setter per client. Clients hire setters and we take care of training and support. So I'll tell you what my agency does, bro. All right, because I run a done for you agency where we currently have equity and percentages in basically 5 coaching businesses at this point. The way that we do it is that we find the setter and we plug them into the client's business. They pay them, but we train and manage them. And we have one setter for one client. That is 70% of how it's done. Sometimes we have a setter or a closer tapping into another offer that is similar because all of our clients are fitness coaches at this point. We have one client who's in property, which is an amazing guy, but we will first kick that project off in October. So I think, Jones, here, let me see. Have you seen a better model work long term? Keeps quality high. Really appreciate the thoughts that you have. All right, bro. What I would ask myself, you're putting me on the spot here. I love it. I absolutely love it. So you need to find out, Jones, one setter, where does it break? Like at which point, how much can you do for one client with one setter, right? Because the key number here to find is how much ad spend do you need to fill the calendar of one phone setter, and that will basically how high can the business go in terms of that one phone setter and that setup, because that makes it duplicatable. I think the problem is probably also here that it works until it doesn't, because when I say it doesn't, it's because people leave, right? So the people that you've spent hours on training, they leave. So I think I also mentioned this in the previous video that I sent you, bro, or like when I answered your question, is that you're probably hiring the wrong people, right? We haven't had one person leave the agency yet unless we fired them, you know? So there's definitely something there. I would say that this can work. Let's do pros and cons for 1, 2, and 3 here, all right? This one first. This works well if it's a similar niche and offer that you're working in, because then the same person can probably sell the same weight loss program for 4 different people without it affecting performance. But if your clients are very different, then it won't work. And you definitely need base if it's a full-time position to cover basic needs, and then definitely also commission. But it also depends on what you're charging your clients, bro. I'm not sure if I'm 100% knows. I don't know how much profit or revenue you charge, so this depends on how much you're charging the client. If it becomes a shitty investment for you to pay your own setters, right? A freelance setter, I don't like that. It's too crucial of a role to have a freelance person. It needs a dedicated person that is good, because the reasons why your clients are happy is because you've had good talent that brought good results. You're probably outperforming other agencies because you're better at setter and closing, right? And this is what we do, and I kind of like broke that down. I think my model is pretty long term with this, right? Because we have a setup that can now be duplicated. But yeah, Jones, it's hard, man. I hope it made good sense with the thought, with brainstorming out loud and kind of like hearing like the different things and different ways to think about it. But yeah, bro, wish you all the best. I hope it makes sense. It's hard, right? Because we're dealing with so many variables in these kinds of businesses when it is info, right? We'll go to the next question here, and the next question is from Max. I feel like I've heard you talk about that you want to launch a course again. Could you tell a bit of who it's for and what it is, etc.? Also, do you have any recommendations for the best coaches and coaching programs for content agencies? I appreciate it and I respect the consistency. Thank you, Max. I'm currently coaching and working with 3 content agencies, so but I'm full capacity. But bro, you've asked multiple questions. I kind of feel like I know your business at this point, and it feels like you are a very good fit for what would, when it launches, be program and community. Maybe one-on-one if you wanna go hard. But my program will become so good that it can be a standalone product. That's just hands down my opinion. That's why I'm spending so much time creating it. I think, bro, I will never ever sell a course again, because what is a course? Well, a course is a standalone product with nothing to it, in my opinion, right? It's like, here, Max, take these resources and and you get no support. I don't really like that model. I'm very much driven about having a course and then having basically a community around it, right? And then here I will have basically, sorry, I'll have one-on-one, and then out here I'll basically have done for you, right? But those spots are filling really fast for the done for you, and it's an agency, and we only work with fitness coaches, so that's a side thing that I'm building. Where this right here, right, is basically the digital coffee shop, right? So I will probably never sell the standalone course on its own, which means that we can probably do like this, right? Where tier 1 is basically just course and community, and then you can add one-on-one, and then maybe I'm considering making an even further circle out where it's inner circle, where it's basically just a higher access of one-on-one. So I think, Max, you would fit perfectly here, to be fair. But of course, bro, if you're looking for something now, then I'm definitely not it, because I'm only opening spots probably to the wait list around August, and then to everyone else in September. But feel free, bro, to DM me on Instagram if you want to hear more about being on the wait list and what you can expect from this. And maybe I'll even give you the prices, because there will also be lower prices to work with me than the one that I'm selling now, because it's community and course. But this will be so good that I know that by adding this to my business with the best possible, I don't like the word course, as I said, but program, I know that this right here is the thing that will get me to 100K a month, right? Because it's a more leveraged way of helping people, and I know that I can help people because I've spent 10 months on building it, right? So it's probably pretty good. I would say so. I kind of have to say that, right? But yeah, Max, feel free to DM me on Instagram, bro. And if you're looking for something ASAP, then I can probably recommend you to one of my students who are also running mentorship programs. But yeah, let's run it. So that was the the questions for the day, basically. Now I'll show my business stats, which is basically just the growth of my business. So we hit the magic Excel sheet, and then we just run it up. So today is the 17th of June, which means that we have to track all numbers for 16th of June, right? So we remember 254 for the daily updates. We head over to my main YouTube channel. 6348. 6348. For my IG, 21,022. And here 254. For revenue and cash, so this is for yesterday, right? Today is the 17th, and we're tracking the 16th. I'm so sorry, I just had dinner. So as you can see, this is my WAP. We'll update it for the sake of it. Bam, bam, bam. Here we go. So you can see that yesterday I made $11,121 in cash. One of them was, am I writing this right? 11,121. There we go. One of them was a new client for the mentorship, so that was basically the last spot. I didn't market it or anything. It was just a perfect fit guy, and I let him know that, hey bro, I have one spot left. If it's not the right fit, then I won't sell it. Then I'll just leave it there. But if it's the right person, then yeah. And he ticked all my boxes, so it was perfect. He paid 3,166 out of the 9.5. So we just need to minus it, and then we just need to add this, right, to the, that's the number, right? Yeah, it is. So 17,455. So yesterday was a good day. You can also see that today was also an 8.7K day, which is nice, obviously. Cost 0. This leaves us at being at 26.7K cash for the month and almost 50K in rev, which is pretty good when you're not marketing anything, I would say. It's just clients paying, clients renewing. It's like, it's so cool, man. I'm not spending anything on marketing. I'm not running any ads. I'm not doing any stories. It's just people who are happy paying their payment plans and also renewing and deciding to continue working with me, or just like super qualified people saying, hey Fred, I've watched you for 2 years, let's start working together, right? And that guy was the perfect example, bro. Because like I looked at my Instagram, right, and I've been sharing student wins on my Instagram for 2.5 years. I don't think there's a lot of people that has shared student wins for 2.5 years straight. All right, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, that was business stats for today. Then we dive into to-do list. So today is Tuesday. I don't really have any calls on Tuesdays, but I had a meeting with my bank today, which was nice. And then I actually had a few calls this evening with a few side projects that I'm involved in. I don't see it as work or like meetings, but it was kind of urgent, so I had to do it. And that's kind of like how it is running a business when there's fires to put out and you have to take a status call or you have to fix something, then you of course do it. Other than that, the day was just spent on clients and getting back to all clients and feedbacks and looms and voice notes and all of that. Then program, I also started building my newsletter, so writing the email sequence and the welcome sequence there, which was pretty nice. So I'm building that out. And then I hit the gym, and now I'll just answer the last few clients, and then I'll hit the sheets, and yeah. So overall, a fine day. Client work, a few calls that wasn't planned, but gotta do what you gotta do, and yeah. So I think strategy for today, I want to show you the power of consistency, because I showed you my Instagram in terms of sticking to one thing, right? And I think, let's make this dollars, let's make this time. And I think what's currently happening to me and my business is that, if you do outreach, let's say, and manual work, this is basically how it looks, right? So that's basically a straight line of input. And I've built my brand and done a lot of unscalable tasks over the last 3 years, and it hasn't really paid off until recently. It is starting to do like this. So I'm feeling like I'm around here. I don't feel like I've hit the full rocket ship, not yet, but I can see that it is starting to outweigh the manual task, all of the content that I'm doing and my brand and my renewals and these things. So I'm hoping that 2025 and basically 2026 is the next 2 years here of my business journey, is where 3 years of compounding efforts will just like skyrocket. It's not something that I need or something, but I can just see signs of this in terms of where I'm at with how much time that I spend on certain activities such as clients and content and delivery, and it's starting to give me an exponential output in terms of all of the stuff that I'm also doing on the side that is maintaining. So I hope that makes sense. I hope, like, this gap right here, there's a lot of people who don't want to do this work, right? And most of the people that I work with, they're on this trajectory, and then it's my job to make sure that people zoom out so that they get to experience the things that I'm experiencing, right? So that's because they hit a ceiling here, right? Like, no matter how hard you go, this line will just continue like this, because it's not leveraged, it's not ads, it's not content, it's not branding, it's not multiple offers, it's not lifetime value. And most of the people that I work with, because they continue to work with me, is because we start building this thing right here, and we fill this void with very good tasks that will then accelerate their business, right? Vince, one of my clients, is a very good example. He started with me at zero 15 months ago, and he's on track to like $50,000 US a month right now. He did 40K last month, So it's like, but he's only doing that because he started with these tasks, right? Which is the beauty of it. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about consistency and the importance of doing these tasks that you'll be very happy about in a few years, while you remember to maintain, right? Because I've mentioned it before, and there's kind of like there's short tasks and there's like long tasks, short term and long term activities, right? And you have 100% energy and you decide where to put the 100% every single day, right? Right now, for example, I'm like 90% on long-term tasks. So I'm not focusing on acquisition. I'm not really focusing on anything else than my program and clients, right? Whereas that only leaves 10% for content and stories and or not content in that sense, but like converting content and pushing people over the line, appointment setting. I'm not really doing that, right? I'm still keeping people in the loop so that I stay relevant. But let's say that you were an agency owner, then it would be flipped completely around, right? You would always do looms. You would always focus on low-paying clients, or you would focusing on building your clients' businesses rather than your own. And then sometimes you would make an Instagram reel, and then 3 weeks would pass, and then you'll make a new one, right? That's most of the people that I work with. So my goal is to get them to do like this, 50-50, until we can push this harder, because then they make more money, also short term. It's funny how it works. Bit of a paradox. But that is it, ladies and gentlemen. I really appreciate you watching this video. I hope you're enjoying them. I enjoy making them. It makes me think, and it makes me stay sharp by answering your questions in real time. It makes me extremely accountable by showing you how much money I make. It's a little bit discomforting sometimes, but when I'm someone that tells people I can help them scale their business, the least thing that I can do is to show my own numbers, man. You know, why would people trust me? So yeah, really appreciate it. I wish you an absolutely amazing week. Enjoy your Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday or whenever you're watching this, and then we'll see each other tomorrow. Peace.